My role today is not to talk for a long time, which is a good thing for you all. I want to go through some of the basic numbers. For some families, open house is really an introduction to the school. So while we're not on campus the way we wish we were, we are able to accomplish our overarching goal for the program. It's to give you a sense of who we are, teach you a lot about our teaching philosophy, and make sure that that aligns with what your family's looking for. And then you'll work with the admission counselors and the division heads and the teachers throughout the year to get some more of those details. But I do want to cover some of the basics. Key School is a community of 645 students. We start with 2.5-year-olds in Kiwi all the way through 12th grade. We have 111 faculty. Our average class size as a school, and this varies obviously based on the age. Our littlest ones are in smaller groups, is 16 as a school. And our 6-to-1 ratio is also, that's a school-wide average. But again, you'll see it's a little bit lower for the first school division. The student body is, again, one of our big selling points for families. A lot of independent schools are very homogenous communities. That happens a lot of times, and depending on where the schools are located and their history. Key School has students coming from 73 different zip codes, 264 different sending schools. That's what we call schools that send students to us, or sending schools. 11 countries, and our students of color, the percentage of students of color at our school right now is 35%, and that number is growing. And so again, it's that is a selling point for us, frankly, is that you can have an independent school education without it being an overly homogenous community. The admission season last year, I always like to do each open house, just talk about previous season. We had 127 new students, 71 sending schools were sending students our way. Our acceptance rate was right around 48%. Now that varies depending on the grade, but that was the average throughout the school. And 36% of our new students do receive need-based financial aid. And the average award for that, for those awards, is $10,000. And this is more first school stats. Again, we have 98 students between Kiwi and kindergarten. There's 23 faculty. There are 2 teachers per classroom, and it is slightly less than a 5-to-1 ratio between students and faculty. And that doesn't mean that there's only 5 or 10 kids in a classroom. We have specialists, we have a division head, we have different adults that do teach your students and your children, which allows the homeroom teacher to eat lunch or start planning a next lesson. So it does actually add up, and it's very helpful. And we've seen this year, obviously with the need to break into smaller pods of students throughout the school, that Key School's low student to faculty ratio really came in handy this year and allowed us to operate in these small pods. As a campus, again, you saw the purpose of that opening slideshow is to give you a sense of space. For many people, open house is the first time they're seeing campus. We have 16 buildings on our main campus, 15 acres here in Hillsmere, and we have a 70-acre athletic park over in Annapolis Roads. That's just past the Giant, if you're familiar with the Annapolis Neck. That used to be a par 3 golf course, and you saw on that the end of the slideshow, we've turned a portion of that into an amazing athletic park, and we're really excited to get kids out there. The Why Key slide here, it's interesting. This slide is used for all 4 divisions because so much of this that ties us together is our approach to teaching. And so I'm going to go through this quickly just because I would rather you hear from the teachers themselves to see what it means at the preschool, pre-K, or kindergarten levels. But our approach to teaching kids the 21st century skills over just rote content, that allows us to instill the love of learning. It's a lot of discovery. They're using the scientific method in every class. There's a reason we had that image in the slideshow. It really is at this age, teaching them how to discover, how to ask questions, how to have journals instead of just giving them answers. And it really does fuel that fire. The small classes, the integration of curriculum, you will hear quite a bit about that. But if you want to take the time, we're going to be posting the open house recordings from last weekend for our middle and upper school. And again, we have a lower school open house coming up in about an hour. And you'll learn more about those integrated programs and other divisions if you choose to watch those videos. The balance of athletics, arts, and activities, academics, we really do find that balance. And I think, again, like I said, the one thing every family seems to have in common here at Key School is academics come first, but we know that those other activities are really important, and they are really strong programs here at Key School. Again, while you guys have little ones, and I'm going to click to the outcomes page, you can read this. I'm not going to read it for you, but when we're thinking about how important the right start is, I do recognize that showing outcomes may seem like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but I think it's important for families when they're choosing a school to partner with, the way we teach children, and again, we avoid teaching to test as they get older. Um, it's important for families to know that our students still test not just really well, they test better than most of the local schools, and just across the state averages, it's actually not even close. And so this is the slide I kind of say you can have it both ways. You can have the learning experience that you wish your child could have, and we all probably wish we had as children, but they still are able to achieve very high scores on these tests, even though we're not teaching them to memorize on a daily basis. So I do like to show this slide for families when we first meet, because I think it's important when you're planning long term to know that the school you're partnering with is preparing students for college and beyond. And we know that the 21st century skills may not necessarily always show up on test scores, but it absolutely shows up in the surveys we get back from our alums that say they felt overly prepared in some cases in some of their classes for college, or how surprised they were that their friends didn't know how to approach a case study. They didn't know where to begin, but our kids did. These things are important no matter how young our children are. So I do want to move to the next segment of our program, because it's important for you to hear from the division head, and obviously at some point from the teachers within the division. We do have one more video to show. We wanted to show a video about inquiry-based learning. This again gives you a sneak peek into the classroom, which is one of the reasons we wanted to show it. So I will get that started right now.